Hey everybody, it's Andy Cloudy and Milder, back with a incredibly long overdue vinyl update. I've not done one for a couple of months. I haven't stopped buying stuff, so things are backing up here, but I've not really been, I don't know, just not really been making that many update videos. But I'm going to try and get back up to speed on that one. I hope that's not too loud. What I am listening to is, so this is a self-made tape. It's by UK thrash band War Dance. It's called A Short Sharp Shock. It's a demo tape that they put together that I got hold of an MP3 version, and I made my own cassette version. Found the images for the cassette online, and made a boot of a boot, I guess. You can't find these for love nor money, but absolutely, I love War Dance. Try and find them on YouTube. Check them out. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Anyway, I digress. I wanted to keep this fairly short, not because I'm into making short videos, but I have got a lot to get through. This feels like only a fraction of what I've been listening to over the last couple of months, but I digress again. Let's jump in. So first one, I've had this record as well for probably getting on for a couple of years, sitting in the inbox, and the famous inbox, and I've only just got round to spinning it now, and that's Tigers of Pang Tang, self-titled album. I can't remember how many albums they've got out now, but this is the one before the most recent one, Ritual, and I bought this on the strength of hearing Ritual. So I was a big I love Wildcat, and I thought that the Tigers releases, although good, Spellbound and Crazy Nights were good, they kind of tailed off as they went through to the 80s, and it got to some of those mid-80 albums like The Cage and Wrecking Age that completely put me off them, and I wasn't going to go back and just check out any modern Tiger stuff at all, to be honest with you. But I saw them on the tour for Ritual. In fact, it was the release night of the album. Love that album. I thought, right, I'm going to go back and check out some of the earlier Tigers albums. This one, unfortunately, is not as good as Ritual. I do like it. It does have some good songs on here. This is a Target release. It came out in 2016. Printed inner sleeves with completely blown sides. I actually got this as a Father's Day gift, so I couldn't really complain too much about the condition that it arrived in, unfortunately. But there we go. It's on black vinyl, custom inner sleeves. It does have some good songs on here, but it also, as I say, it just doesn't. The Ritual is a fantastic album. You should check that out. On here, the good is Glad Rags is pretty good. The Reason Why, Do It Again, Angel in Disguise. But what lets it down is a cover of I Got the Music in Me, which is terrible. I don't know why they decided to put that one on. And I did look up I Can't For Life and remember who sang the original one for that, but not a good cover to do on. But Tigers of Pantang, self-titled, 2016. Next up, the second release by Danish thrash metal band Artillery and Terror Squad. This was in my inbox for a while as well. I love the first album that was released. This is it's originally 1987. This is a Back on Black reissue from 2019. As usual, Back on Black do fantastic quality reissues, always in a gatefold. They don't, they're not trying to replicate exactly what the album was when it came out. And black. Oh, it's not black vinyl. It's clear vinyl. So Terror Squad is a good album, but it's one that I played, and every time I stopped playing it and put it back on the shelf, I couldn't remember too much about it. I mean, the best song probably is the title track, Terror Squad. But again, I'm looking at these song titles and I'm thinking I'm struggling to remember exactly what the songs sound like. But I know when I put it on, I really enjoy it. So it's just kind of one of those albums that hasn't really clicked full on like the first album and by inheritance as well. But still great with having the collection. Artillery, Danish thrash metal. This is a band I would. Their first album would be a grail, but I managed to find their second album, an OG copy of Scanner's Terminal Earth, again from 1980. This is 1989 actually. I was going to say 1987. I was very wrong. It's not as bad. I mean, it almost looks like the sort of cover a band like Lawnmower Death would have. It makes it look like a bit of a joke band. But Scanner are German power metal in the vein of Halloween, aren't they all? But the sound of Scanner, certainly on this album, I'd love to find their first album. Their first album would be a real grail of mine. But the sound of this album is, if you can imagine Halloween went on to play the sound of the Keepers albums, but they didn't have Michael Kiske. They carried on with Kai Hansen on vocals. It kind of sounds like that. It kind of sounds like the perfect blend of Jericho and the Keepers period, but with Kai Hansen style vocals on it. Nothing exciting on the inside pane. Oh no, actually there was, wasn't there? There was stuff that came with it. I just put it inside. Plain black vinyl, and it did come with a merch sheet and lyrics. I don't know if this was an original insert for this album because it doesn't seem related at all. It's all about Tankard Love. But another merch sheet. I don't know if that was the original one that came with it because there is another Noise International label merch sheet in there as well. But Scanner, excellent band, well worth checking out. This one was actually released today, and in fact the next two, I suppose you could call them grails. If Grails is an album that you really want, but to me, a grail would be an OG of an album, not a reissue. And these two are reissues of albums that I had considered to be grails for me. And I would probably, unless I saw an OG that was super cheap, and that is becoming increasingly unlikely, I will settle for my Ear Music 2022 reissue of Hall of the Mountain King, and this only got released today, so I was really surprised when it turned up. I pre-ordered it. There's been a lot of Sabotage, a lot of Sabotage reissues coming out recently. This is the only one that I've been interested in. I have the others as OGs, and I know everyone's waiting on Gutter Ballet as well, but I have that as an OG as well. It's nicely done. Reissue. It does have a little. It's kind of, I'm trying to figure out if I'm annoyed by this. It does have a little ding in it here, and slightly blown seems to be here, but that's fixable. It's on plain black vinyl, so new music, custom labels, band on that side, and then the picture sleeve with lyrics and photo. Not an album I particularly need to talk too much about. It's an album I've never had on physical media. Compared to some of these reissues, the inserts seem a little, I don't know about disappointing. I mean, I'm ecstatic that I've got the album, and everything else that comes in it is a bit of a bonus. It wasn't actually too expensive for a reissue either, like some, but delighted to finally have a physical copy of Hall of the Mountain King. Originally, 1987? So this is a 2022 Ear Music reissue that came out today, I think. So, yeah, fantastic. Another reissue that came out this year, which an OJ would definitely be a grail, but not getting one of those anytime soon. This is the music on vinyl Roadrunner Records Zentrix debut album, Shattered Existence. This is one that people were saying would it or would it not get a reissue, but thankfully towards the end of last year they announced that it would, Jumped on the pre-order and it arrived a day or two after the release day, which is fantastic. It is on standard red vinyl, as is the norm these days, and a nice lyric and picture insert. Again, an album that many people know really well, but I'd never owned a physical copy of before. Zentrix, one of the top UK thrash bands from back in the day. I love songs like Balance of Power, Crimes, Reasons for Destruction. I think the music is a kind of it's got such a... I mean, the UK thrash metal scene was so influenced by, obviously, the Bay Area, but everything that was going on at the time. And I sense there's a bit of Metallica worship in here, but there's also a bit of... The vocals, to me, are a little reminiscent of Dave Mustaine as well at times. But excellent album. I'm so glad to finally have a copy on vinyl, and I don't care it's a reissue. I used to care about things being reissues and not OGs, but not anymore. Life's just... You just need to listen to life, not just worry about getting an OG. Also released this week, how could I not pre-order Carpe Diem from Saxon there. Was it 23rd studio album? Nice gatefold. I was a little disappointed by the price of this one, certainly for what you get. It's a single disc edition, and the pre-order for me was 29 quid, and that's a lot for me to pay for an album. I did pay maybe a pound or two extra because I did get the EMP green vinyl exclusive. I don't know how exclusive that is, but there we go. I was ordering from EMP, so I thought, why not? The original inner sleeve has lyrics and the usual credits, and it does come with an insert as well. And this is what I mean about that being, for the price you pay. I mean, this is the insert. It's a very nicely done, but it's single-sided, and it just would have been nice to have something a little bit more in there, but they've clearly tried to maximise the profits on this album. But what about the album? Where it's Saxon by numbers. It is a really, really good Saxon release. I've only listened to it 4 or 5 times, which is kind of a lot for me to listen to a single album in a week. But it's good enough for me to put it on and then want to spin it again. But as I say, it is kind of Saxon by numbers. It's my only... And I hate to use the word disappointment because I'm not disappointed by it, but Thunderbolt was so good and I enjoyed battering around before it so much that I was really hoping it would still be another sort of fist-pumping, full-throttle Saxon album. But it is in parts, but it's got some sort of old school Saxon in there as well, a little sort of call to arms. Now, I pulled out a couple of modern era Saxon albums from my the Eagles and Dragons box set that I've got up there, and I think I played Metalhead and Inner Sanctum, and I would say it was in between those two. It was better than Metalhead, not as good as Inner Sanctum, and I don't think it's as good as Thunderbolt, but that doesn't mean it's a bad album at all. I love Saxon. One of these days I will get around to doing a Saxon ranking, but I find it incredibly hard because sometimes I like the full throttle Saxon, and other times I would just like to put on the steady Eddie Saxon by numbers, and this to me falls in that latter category, but by no means a bad album. Well worth picking up if you haven't yet. Moving on, an OG. This is a 1980 new wave of British heavy metal band called Chevy. They don't look very metal, do they? So Chevy, I think, were originally a 70s band that did a very different style of music, and once the new wave of British heavy metal came in, they decided to change and try and jump on that bandwagon, and they did it pretty well. The album's called The Taker, although you wouldn't know from the front, just on the side. But it's not full on heavy metal at all. It's kind of a bit sort of heavy metal meets hard rock. Trying to remember the songs on here now to maybe check out. The Taker, the title track is definitely worth going on with. Rock On as well, I think, is one of the others as well. But it's an album I've chucked on quite a few times, but without really digesting which song is which on the title. So a incredibly terrible recommendation from me on this one. But it's a decent album if you like that early new wave of British heavy metal sound, when it was still trying to define what that sound was. But yeah, Chevy, The Taker, 1980. But with 70s hairdos. Tank War Nation. This is the Tucker Evans version of Tank. Again, a bit like Tigers of Pangtang, I had no interest in checking out modern era Tank. They've had their little fight. Tucker Evans and Algie Ward have had their little fight, and they've both gone off and decided they're both going to have a type of band called Tank, and they're going to confuse the world by releasing albums under the name Tank. And you have to figure out which one that you like and which one you're going to go for, and I couldn't really be doing with any of that. I love early 80s Tank, absolutely fantastic. As I say, this is Tucker Evans' version of Tank, and it sounds nothing like early Tank at all. The reason why I was drawn to it is I'm on a big Doogie White kick at the moment. Doogie White is been the vocalist for Schenker on a couple of different projects, Schenker Fest, and I've got the other CD out there at the moment, Spirit on a Mission, that album that he did, Temple of Rock. So and he's also the current singer of Alcatraz as well, and I've just can't get enough of the voice at the moment, so I've been looking around and seeing what other projects he was in, and I was surprised to see that he was part of Tank. So I picked this album up. It's fairly cheap to get hold of. It's on standard red vinyl. Metal Mind Productions. Don't put it back in. But yeah, really good. It's more of a hard rock metal sound to it. War Nation, Grace of God. Now that is, I was listening to that song, I thought, I'm sure I've heard of that one before, and I was listening to the latest Alcatraz that does have Doogie White on it, and the same song is on the latest Alcatraz album as well, and actually has, I think, Nick Tucker actually plays on here as well. So does that make this a cover version if it's Doogie White wrote it, but it was originally on here and Nick Tucker's on it? Mick Tucker is on it as well. Does it make a cover version? When is a cover version? You don't have to answer that question. I'm not that interested. So Tank War Nation. I was suitably impressed. There is another Doogie White Tank album, and I have put that high on the want list. Speaking of Doogie White and Michael Schenker, a nice segue into what was my Christmas present from my wife this year. I mentioned this on my birthday video last time. I don't generally put a lot of music on my sort of wish lists for Christmas or what have you. I buy music all year round, so it doesn't necessarily feel particularly special to get an album before Christmas. But what I usually do is put 5 or 6 on a list, and my wife will pick one of them because she knows I like records. I do like getting records, but she'll buy one of them and I won't know which one it is, and it'll be a little bit of a surprise at least, rather than in the past I've bought stuff and given it to her as in wrap that. But yes, Michael Schenker Fest Revelation, I think it's the latest, 2019, the latest of the Michael Schenker Fest albums. And what is brilliant about this is it has Doogie White, Graham Bonnet, Gary Barden, and Robin McCauley on vocals, and all 4 of them share vocals on songs throughout, and they're all involved in the songwriting process, and it's absolutely superb. The whole album is fantastic. It's a double album. Side D is bonus tracks, it's live tracks. But I've played the first 3 sides over and over again since Christmas, and the artwork is absolutely phenomenal. Obviously, you've got Michael Schenker on the flying V being strung up and treated terribly. But I love the fact that all the band members are depicted. Robin McCauley here, Doogie White, all the vocalists, Gary Barden, Graham Bonnet on the front, and on the back we have the other members of the band who are I can't remember. Yeah, here we go. Bodo Schopf, Chris Glenn, and Steve Mann. And the really nice thing is here at the bottom here, there's a little tribute to Ted McKenna, who was a Schenker drummer for a while, and he's kind of depicted up in the clouds here with his sticks, looking on over the scene. But one of my favourite album covers, that so much detail, one of those ones that you can stare at forever. And it was only today when I was re-looking at it, I was noticing there's a UFO patch on his jacket here, and there's a wee scorpion down at the bottom there as well. So much attention to detail in that cover, and absolutely I love that. I got through that lot a lot quicker than I expected. I thought this would be a half-hour video, and who knows, it might still be a half-hour video. But you know me, I like to end on a Maiden, and I finally, after watching this on Amazon for the longest of time, got myself a copy of Somewhere Back in Time, the best of 1980 to 1989. This is the picture disc compilation album. Beautifully done, sounds pretty good, but you know what, at the end of the day, it's a compilation album. And so these are the inners, pretty much the same, not very exciting. It's a compilation album, and it's not a compilation album I would play much. It's not necessarily a mix of songs that I would have chosen myself, and I also don't like the mix of songs. I've got this because I'm a completist with Maiden, what can I say? I'm a sucker for that. But it's got a mixture of live tracks and studio tracks, and I kind of get that all the Diano era ones are live, but there's also a live version of Aces High as well from Live After Death. There's the track listing. It's a decent track listing. You can't go wrong with that. Although I could do without "Can I Play with Madness" hearing that song again. It's what I had to have the collection. I have the second album in this series as well. Was it From Here to Eternity? But fantastically put together. It's Iron Maiden. I had to have it for the collection, but to me it's just not a great compilation. I actually prefer the follow-up one, but again, similar criticisms of having a mixture of live tracks and other songs, but had to have it. There we go. I'm off work next week, so I've got a CD update I need to do, and another couple of updates I could probably try and squeeze in as well. Definitely need to finish off my 80s collection series. That's been going on way too long. But before all that, I know the music stops, I've got to go and turn the tape over. Before all that, do join us later today, I guess, by the time this is uploaded, 12th of February. Me and the Contact in Blood boys, Mark G with a C, Metal Mickey, the Rock Scout. We're joined by Darcy, Six Strings Line Lives, and we are going to just waffle on about the pros and cons of music collecting, sort of the things that we like to do, some of the things that we are passionate about, some of the things that we hate, and some of the really bizarre things that only collectors do. I hope you join us for that. It should be a good laugh, bit of banter, a lot of fun, a lot of laughs. Have a great weekend, and hopefully we'll catch you on the live stream. Thanks for watching. See you again soon.